some entitled mother-in-laws that should be banned. Can we just like ban them? Do we have the power to do that? Because I think we should. Am I the a-hole for calling the police?
A reunion?
On my mother-in-law?
What's wrong with her?
I, 28 female, got married to my husband, 34 male, a week ago. We got engaged about a year ago, and when I got engaged, my mother gave me a pair of earrings, which she said every woman for generations in our family has worn to their weddings.
Tradition.
There are 4-carat dangling earrings. And they're worth a lot. I felt very honored to be given them, and it made me feel closer to my grandmother who had died 2 months prior. What an amazing tradition.
Tradition.
I love that so much. So about 3 months after that, I went wedding dress shopping with my mother, my sister, and my fiance's mother. I brought all the jewelry that I said I would be wearing to my wedding to see how they matched the dresses. When I put the jewelry on, my mother-in-law kept going on and on about how gorgeous the earrings were. My mother explained the story and how they were a family heirloom, passed down generations. I found the dress of my dreams and I bought it. Oh, I know where this is going.
Where is this going?
On the day of my wedding, I had everything ready in my room. My wedding dress, my flowers, my shoes, my makeup, and my jewelry. I was in there with my soon-to-be mother-in-law. I then needed to go to the toilet, and when I came back, my mother-in-law was gone. And let me guess, so were the earrings? I wasn't sure what had happened, but I thought maybe she just got called away to do something. Then I noticed my earrings were gone. I knew straight away that she had taken them. I found her and confronted her, and she said she didn't take them.
Liar.
Where did they go then? They were there, and then they weren't there, and the only person that it could be is you. I asked if I could look through her bag, and she said no, and I gripped onto it. Why? What you got in there? I said that if she didn't let me look, I would call the police, which I then did, as she still wouldn't let me look. The police arrived and searched her and the earrings we found in her bag.
Busted.
What I don't understand is you're stealing something from someone, and it's not like this is like something that everybody has that you'd be able to be like, oh, I got it from this place. Oh, I saw that you had these earrings and I bought them too, or blah, blah, blah. Like, how are you gonna even wear these earrings without somebody calling you out? This person is your daughter-in-law or future daughter-in-law. The earrings were returned to me and they asked if I wanted to press charges. Damn right you do. I wanted to talk to my fiance first and he said he would support me if I wanted to. Well, at least there's that. Good. I didn't want to decide in that moment, so I just ignored it and had a great night. That was a week ago, and since then I've been getting loads of threatening calls and messages from my husband's side of the family. Why though? Threatening messages? You're the victim, babe. Someone stole from you. My mother-in-law has been sending me extremely hateful texts and I think I want to press charges, but I'm not sure if it's a good idea.
Do it.
I mean, you're already getting the hateful texts without even doing anything other than get your earrings back, which you legally had the right to do. Has she apologized? What was her explanation for stealing your family heirloom earrings that are worth a lot of money? Like, yeah, I could be hesitant because she is actually your fiance's mother, right? So that's obviously not ideal to have your fiance's mother go to jail for theft. And I would imagine if the earrings are as expensive as you say they are, they're probably worth enough for her to get like jail time, like definitely, not just a slap on the wrist. I think after like a certain amount, $5,000, $10,000, depending on where you are, it's considered like grand larceny. But at the same time, she stole your earrings and had zero remorse and is not only stealing, but also getting her family to threaten you and harass you.
Yeah, Bing. What's that about?
You're not the a-hole in my eyes, but let's see what everybody else had to say. Not the a-hole. Mother-in-law is a thief that tried to make off with your heirloom earrings. F that, press charges and be done with her. Be done with her. She then doubled down by getting her family to harass OP, as you do when you don't want to be charged. I didn't really understand that part. Were you trying to scare her into not pressing charges? Like, you clearly belong in jail, babe. Press charges for both harassment and theft. Yeah, like the whole intimidation thing is like, you sound like a criminal. If OP doesn't, the family will just keep at it. Prove that messing with your family has consequences. Period. I am all for this. Wildly trashy mother-in-law. She knows OP could press charges and is harassing her as if, you know, that pile wasn't big enough to begin with. Let's just add on harassment and threats. She knew the story, she stole them and wouldn't come clean and stubbornly held them until cops were called on her. I agree, press charges and add that you're being harassed, so maybe a judge will give you a restraining order. Look into a safety deposit box for the earrings because I wouldn't trust any of mother-in-law's flying monkeys to even have a chance of access. That's what's up. I agree with all of this. What on earth was her end game? To quietly sell them and just have sudden extra money that no one would draw lines about? That's a good point. But the way that she was talking, she liked them so much that she wanted them for herself. You gotta be some kind of stupid to like steal something and then wear it around the person that you stole it from.
You'd be surprised.
Nope, she went Gollum on them. She wouldn't have sold them. This is what I'm saying. She sounded like she really, like, literally, like, my precious. That's my best Gollum impression. Take it or leave it. She wanted them for herself. She would have worn them everywhere. She and the husband weren't. That's a good point. But everybody would know. She would have eventually slipped and got caught. Like, all it takes is one person taking a picture of you wearing them and posting it to social media and you're done. Please press charges for stealing and harassment. If in text, save those, save voicemails, everything. Get Ring cameras just in case she comes over to the house over this. You're not the a-hole, my dear. Let us know how that goes. Am I the a-hole for banning my mother-in-law from my life after she said I slept with father-in-law? You didn't, right? You didn't?
You want the truth?
So for context, I met my mother-in-law and father-in-law before I met my boyfriend because I used to work for them. He happens to be autistic, Asperger's, and I noticed shortly after starting the relationship that everyone in his family always treated him like he was unable to do things on his own and pretty much tried to influence him into doing the things that they wanted him to. Career-wise, job-wise, quitting hobbies they considered childish, etc. I told myself I would never do this, and I would always treat him like the adult that he is. So I encouraged him to make his own decisions, and I can tell he's grown a lot in the past 5 years of the relationship. In fact, I feel we have both grown up. You sound amazing. You sound like a stand-up gal. Good on ya.
Kudos.
Back to his mom. I always noticed that she resented that I became such an important person for her son. Right, because she couldn't control him anymore. That he started taking my opinion and input in matters so much in consideration. But I always tried to be friends with her. I talked to her in her own terms and pretty much try to be close to her. But as it happens, it became more of a pretend to be nice to your face and then trash talk about you behind your back kind of situation. Things really went down when my boyfriend let me borrow his car to go on a 4-day college trip. And when she found out, she went ballistic because he never lends her the car to go anywhere. She started screaming and saying that I was just a manipulative who had slept with half our town before we met and even his father. And because his father wouldn't continue the relationship, I started dating the son. Okay.
You sure about that?
This, of course, is a lie. My boyfriend had a big meltdown from hearing this, and when I came back from the trip, he asked me to move in with me for a while because he didn't want to be around her. This was months ago. I haven't talked to her again, blocked her on every social media, and started going to therapy. My boyfriend is okay now, and he's on speaking terms with her. Now we are moving into a house of our own. We were at my parents', and his family's pushing for us to have a good relationship with mother-in-law again. But to be quite honest, I don't want her in my life anymore. I understand she's my boyfriend's mom, and she's always going to be in the picture, but I can't get past the fact that she would say the things that she said, knowing how much those things would hurt her son, just because he let me borrow his car and not her, because he doesn't trust her. So obviously, I'm still mad. But everyone in my boyfriend's family says that she's a good mom, that this was just a mistake she made, and that I should let it pass and fix things with her. Okay, so has she apologized for saying the things that she said? You can have the conversation with her, but if she doesn't apologize for what she said, it's a no-go. Am I the a-hole for never wanting to talk to her again? Here's the thing, babes. We all have falling outs with people. We all have disagreements with people. Things are said that are not necessarily what we mean, but the point is you gotta be able to talk about it, especially if it's, you know, a friend that you really care about or someone in your family or someone in your spouse's family. You gotta find a way to maybe talk about it once things have cooled off, because once you talk about it, you can finally find out if the person was actually sorry for what they did or if they're just going to gaslight you and put the blame on you, in which case you know that you were right in feeling the way that you feel. But you kind of gotta have that conversation, you know? That's how I feel about it. Obviously, this was a really terrible thing for her to do. If it was anybody else, I would say screw them, don't care, take a hike. But it's your future mother-in-law. You're not the a-hole for not wanting to ever talk to her again. What she did was really awful. To not only you, but also your fiance. Like, she did that not only to you, but to her own son, which is like, you sound very protective of him. You sound like you put him first in a lot of situations, and that would piss me off too. However, he's talking to her again, and I'm assuming that she's probably gonna be at the wedding. You're probably gonna see her around. So it might be best to talk about it. And then, based on how apologetic she is, based on her accountability, you can decide whether or not you want to move forward with the relationship.
It's a hard pass.
Forgiveness does not equal trust. You asked her if you should forgive her. Absolutely. But that doesn't mean that you have to let her keep hurting you. If she's gonna extend the olive branch, then consider it. But if she refuses to ever admit wrongdoing, you'd be wasting your time and your self-respect by trying to make up with her. This is the thing, right? When you have disagreements with people, when people hurt you, and you try to talk to them again about it, both people have to be humble. They both have to admit fault. Unless, of course, it's literally just like kind of one person that did the hurting.
We were on a break!
In which case they need to apologize. But you know, the reconciliation has to come from both sides. If she's not willing to talk to you about it and admit wrongdoing, then you can decide from then whether you want to have a relationship with her. You're not the a-hole. Am I the a-hole for banning my mother-in-law from the house? I, male 39, lost my late wife 6 years ago. I have a 16-year-old son, Daniel, and I recently got engaged to my fiance of 2 years. Her mom and I aren't on good terms because of how she behaves. She's a controlling, self-centered, Dolly Parton wannabe. Wow, I really do have an image of her in my head. I learned to ignore her crap, but she's been annoying Daniel and criticizing his personality regularly. He's a private kid and still hasn't gotten used to the new family dynamic, but he's in therapy and is doing fine. She keeps diagnosing him left and right, calling him antisocial, autistic, and other crap. I'm sorry, is she a doctor?
I googled it.
Fact is, Daniel is a shy, well-mannered kid, but people confuse that with being antisocial. Mother-in-law tried several times to force Daniel to open up by embarrassing him with personal questions on family dinners and test his personality type. Honestly, it's things like this that make people antisocial. Like, people wonder why others are antisocial, and like, this is exactly why. I've realized the effect her behavior had on Daniel, so I gave him the choice to no longer be in the same room / house as mother-in-law, and he appreciated this a lot. Mother-in-law didn't like that Daniel kept his distance. Why is it surprising that he kept his distance from her? You suck, mother-in-law. Don't be surprised that people don't want to be around you. Mother-in-law didn't like that Daniel kept his distance and no longer visits, and kept bitching about how spoiled he will become for her daughter to deal with. I told her to stop bringing it up, but she cried, "I'm just doing this for Danny." Okay. I mean, you sound like people are different, okay? If he's shy, he's shy. Maybe stop trying to change him and he'll want to hang out with you more.
People.
Last week, she visited unexpectedly, wanting to say hi to Daniel. After Daniel greeted her, he went into the bathroom and she went into the living room with my fiance. I was in my bedroom when Daniel came out and said his journal was gone.
Not again.
Oh,
Hell no.
seriously? We looked for it for a bit, but didn't find it. I asked my fiance who was alone in the kitchen, but didn't see it. I paused for a second to ask where my mother-in-law was. My fiance said in the living room, but I saw her coming down the stairs. I asked where she was. She said in the bathroom. I saw her purse in hand, so I bluntly asked if she took Daniel's journal. She looked offended and called for my fiance when I insisted to see inside her purse. Why? What you got in there? Like, why? It's always the people that have something in their purse that shouldn't be there that are suddenly not letting you look inside their purse. She wanted to leave, but I didn't let her. Fiance told me to stop it, but I insisted the journal was in there. Mother-in-law tried to explain this was her only chance to get to know Daniel because she cares about him. No. If you cared about him, you would let him have his private thoughts and life. That is like a flat out invasion of privacy. He's not your son. And even if he was, you gotta let your kids kind of have their own stuff going on, especially a journal. I blew up at her and berated her for stealing from my son and told her she's banned from my house for the stunt she pulled. She argued with me, then left. My fiance apologized for her, but said banning her from the house was over the top. It's not. She not only stole, but she also doesn't respect his privacy. It backlashed, and I and father-in-law argued and hoped his daughter realized how freaking abusive I am and call off the wedding for refusing to apologize to mother-in-law. Fiance said her family won't come to the wedding until I reconcile with her mom and cancel the ban, but I won't let my son be disrespected in his own house and ask my fiance to understand. I'm refusing to reconcile, but I'm aware this could ruin my relationship with my in-laws, not just mother-in-law, and my fiance thinks I'm selfish to cause drama. Honey, I don't love this fiance for you. I'm telling you right now, this does not sound good. Again, maybe the mother-in-law does have good intentions. Maybe she does. However, there's been no apology. Yeah, I don't know if if I love this for you, babes. That's kind of a bit of a problem for me. I don't like it when spouses don't support you when you have altercations with your in-laws. Not the a-hole, and if I were you, I'd put off the wedding until you know for sure that your fiance understands and will stand up for your son and you to her family when stuff like this happens. I think the ban is 100% justified. I mean, if she didn't just go and like take something that wasn't hers, that was very private, I would say just like continue on as it is, but clearly she cannot be trusted in your house. Postpone the wedding. Also hate to say this, but do you have an ironclad will? I shudder what to think what would happen if you suddenly died and your fiance so easily influenced by her mother. Period. Subscribe!